using words that kill our credibility? Our next guest says most of us are, and she's here to help. Please welcome communication specialist Fotini Ikonomopoulos. Okay, I'm so glad you're here because you always give us great information about things that we do that, we can change and it can make such a huge impact. So we're going to talk about the words we use. And you say that we should make a conscious effort to use words because it can really impact the way people see us and how they communicate with us.
Absolutely. So their popular communication theory tells us that 7% of our message comes across in the actual words that we choose.
Okay.
38% of our message comes in the tone, so the sounds that you use when you use those words. That leaves 55% of your message comes across without even saying a word in your non-verbal communication.
Just body language.
Just body language. Now that's a whole show in itself.
Yeah.
But what that tells us is if you don't have the luxury of that body language, then you really need to be careful about the words that you're choosing and how you sound.
Yeah.
Imagine if you're just doing it over email. You're missing a massive opportunity. So you want to edit yourself really, really carefully.
And we communicate so much digitally that it really does make a huge impact in the way people hear us and how they see us, right?
Yeah, and people are shying away for anything but digital communication these days.
So true. All right, so we're going to talk about certain things. Now, the first we're going to talk about is which words cast the most doubt. So these are words that when I communicate with you with these words, these are words that people are not too sure about me when I use them?
Yeah, well, words like I believe, I think, maybe, and my personal favorite, just. When I see those in an email, I'm wondering, does this person, are they that sure of themselves? If they're not sure of themselves, why should I be sure of them?
Okay, I'm confused because, okay, I think I would use, you say, Andrea, I want you to head this project. And I say, okay, I think that I should do this, this, and this, and that would make, this project very successful. You're saying don't start the sentence with that way.
That's an opinion versus stating it as a fact. Making a more declarative statement saying, I can do this and I can do that and here's what I'm going to do next versus I think this is what I'm going to do or I think this is a good idea. Well, I think you're wrong. I think something completely different.
Well, what if I'm in a team? So you feel like you don't want to come off as the bossy one and you're like, this is a collaboration, so I want to say, well, I think, because I'm opening up the floor to anybody else who has another idea.
And that's precisely why we use these words. So we tend to shy away from being too declarative because we don't want to be labeled as too aggressive or too assertive or the big B word either. But there's a way around those things. And it's okay to use it on occasion. I'm not saying you have to remove it completely from your vocabulary, but we overuse it. I personally prefer using words like, it seems that this is the case.
Okay.
That makes it far more objective and less your opinion and an opinion that could be combative.
All right. And what about the word just? Why is just a bad word?
Just when it's used inappropriately can seem like you are justifying why I should even give you my attention. I just wanted to talk to you about this. I just wanted to say that. Please don't not like me right now.
Okay, okay. All right, and you have an example of a really bad email. So it says, hi coworker, I just wanted to follow up on yesterday's meeting. I believe I may have a solution. I think it's actually a very good option. I'd really like to discuss it further.
So one of the reasons why I wouldn't use this email is the word just. I just wanted to follow up. It makes it sound like, please don't be mad at me for taking your time and following up. It's a conciliatory position and it's a weak position. In an email from time to time, that's okay. But in more serious circumstances, it can really hurt your credibility and put you in a position of weakness when you want to make sure that you feel powerful and credible and authoritative.
And we should really think about this, say when we're applying for a job and we want our boss or future potential boss to see us and take us seriously, we gotta really pay attention to those things.
Absolutely. And anytime you're in a meeting and you've got coworkers around you and so on, you want to sound just as, if not more credible than the people around you at all times. So what I would say instead is I would write the email like this.
Okay.
Hi, coworker, I'm following up on our meeting.
Okay.
I have a solution that will help us move forward. Does a meeting at 1 p.m. or 2 p.m. work best for you to discuss further? So I've removed some of those extra little words that we use when we're really uncomfortable. I've totally removed the word just, and I've even added in a call to action at the end versus leaving it up in the air. Are they ever gonna write me back? Are they not? I'm forcing them to respond.
Give me an answer. Give me a definite answer. Now, is there a difference between the way women and men communicate? Like, are women tend to use these words more than men?
Women in general are more verbose, so we use more words in general. There's also an issue with confidence for women in general in the workplace, which we see time and time again in studies and books and so on. So when we use all these extra words, it's because we're not feeling very confident. So my goal in helping people remove some of these words from their vocabulary is helping them feel more confident. And when you feel more confident, it shows, and you're more successful as a result.
So we should not shy away from using those power words.
Exactly.
All right, so we've talked about the words that cast doubt. Now let's talk about the words, the unnecessary words that you're saying we should get rid of out of our vocabulary altogether. What are they? Because I know I'm probably using every last one of them.
These are the ones we hear all the time in language. Like, it comes
Guilty.
up constantly. Literally,
Guilty.
Really, very, and there's a ton more. Just
Guilty,
that sound
guilty,
just
and
like
guilty.
that.
That's the way you communicate. And I'm trying to, when I'm talking in like a business, like when I'm talking to you, it's in my mind, don't use those words. Don't like, don't vary, but it's hard.
It's really hard because it's something that we do when we're speaking casually to people. So I always tell people, try to make sure that you're speaking with your friends the same way you would in the boardroom, because it's much easier to train yourself to do it in both places than it is to switch back and
How
forth.
do you do that when your friends are liking and varying back at you and literaling back at you?
First and foremost, it's about creating awareness. So if you can have a friend that you trust to give you feedback every time you use those likes or literallys or ums or anything else that comes in your way.
Make it a game. Every time you say like, you got to put $1 in a jar. I'd be broke in 10 minutes.
Well, a lot of people do that with curse words. So
Yeah.
this is the same type of thing. It takes away from your credibility, so why not?
So be aware of using those words.
Yes. And the other thing I tell people is record yourself. Record yourself on your phone, and the minute you hear yourself saying it, you will cringe without a doubt. So create that awareness, and you'll be able to press the mental pause button instead of like. So just remove the word altogether. You don't need to replace it with something. Just be quiet in that moment.
Just be quiet? Oy, oy, oy. That's a tough one. That was like, that's a big, tall order for me. All right, so we talk about words that cast doubt, unnecessary words. Now, what else should we be paying attention to when we communicate with people?
So we talked about the words you choose, but also think about how you say them. There's two things that come up constantly when I'm working with executives or students or clients. Most managers and executives are always telling me, can you help my staff person get rid of this sound, this inflection? So it sounds like I'm having a conversation with you and I'm making a statement, but really it sounds like I'm asking a question. And do I sound very confident when I do that?
Nope.
Not really.
You sound like you're also short of breath.
Yeah.
You're just running out of air every single time you talk to me, and I'm listening. Okay, so we've got to pay attention. We have to really pay attention to that. What's another thing we really have to pay attention to?
The other one that comes up more and more frequently is vocal fry.
What is vocal fry?
So it's also known as creaky voice, and the best way I have to explain it is if you think about watching reality television like the Kardashians. It's this voice where they go really deep like this, and it sounds really creaky, and it leads to run-on sentences, and it hurts your credibility, and yet this happens all the time, every day. I hear it from students and executives and everyone all alike.
That's all my friends that you just did there. And you know what's so funny? Because I know, as soon as you said, I didn't know what vocal fry is, but yeah, that kind of like low, like, oh my gosh, court, clo, like I literally can't right now. Which is the way a lot of young people talk to each other. So we've got to get rid of it. Why is that vocal fry so bad? Is it like grating on the nerves? Why don't people like it?
I think that's it personally. It's the biggest complaint I hear from senior executives, and I work with them day in and day out. It takes away from your credibility because if I don't want to hear that, I'm going to choose to work with someone who doesn't do that. I'm going to choose to have someone else answer the question instead of you. It is becoming more and more common because of the onset of reality television. That's not making it acceptable in our circles.
Especially in the workplace.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So just be mindful when you're going in to have these conversations.
And get rid of the vocal fry.
Yeah, that would help.
I love vocal fry. Fontini, thank you so much. So much great information. Now I'm going to think about it every time I write an email. All right, so they've been around for millions of years and they've survived extinction. What are they? Find out after the break. You know it. I literally like vocal fry. Here's